Audacity. hour arrives, the hour of action.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it.
For depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury.
To subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws.
All experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed.
But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security.
We mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
And we're going to take our country back from these people.
What's up, everybody? Happy Saturday night. Just realized my backlighting isn't on. Let me get rid of this. Boom. I'm trying a new chat window so I can see messages from Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and a bunch of others all at the same time now. And I've tested it out before. But I didn't really have time to make sure it's all connected and everything, so I'm not sure how great it will work. But here I put in a chat room, boom. So, that right there, that is from Periscope, Twitter's, Twitter's video, whatever you call it. So there we go. We got one comment from either Twitter or directly on Periscope. That's pretty cool. So anyways, I need you guys to call in because what day is it? It is Judiciary Day! Woo! Saturday Night Live! Hey, Melissa. You want to call in? Shane, I see you watching. Holly, Joellen. And I was hoping, I actually asked 2 people to call in this week. It's crazy how many people, or 3 people. A lot of people have birthdays this week and are celebrating them today. One was Rosemary Dalton, because I know, the solution to family law and CPS, and my thoughts of it, she's like right on the same path as me, right on the same wavelength. I asked Brian, but she has a birthday. Brian Kinter, same thing, and then Laura Thompson is in Connecticut. At her son's college, and I'm not sure she'll be able to call in. But she's a wealth of knowledge, being a mediator, a former actual mediator in family court. So let's see. This was a great week as far as the shows go. Kirk's Law Corner. There's Crystal. All right, hold on, Crystal. It's my faithful WOJ player, Crystal. She's on the line. Yeah, I just fixed my hair, Aaron. I don't know why I'm not seeing the Facebook texts or comments popping up on the my text source. Yeah, that's a bummer. When I tested it, yeah, my hair's all messed up. Aaron. Got my comb. There we go. I'll just comb it over my earphones. It'll be like, I'll look like Princess Leia. Kirk's Law Corner was great. You know, for the purposes of this show, I could just use his show to do this show. I mean, literally, within the first couple of minutes, boom, I've got my questions. And, you know, it's always a wealth of information. And then Far From Normal on Tuesday, that was great. Francesca was on. I haven't tried pronouncing her middle name, Francesca Bainfield. I'm sorry. And then we did a live, you know, we broadcast live with Francesca and Kirk on Thursday afternoon around 1:30 or 2. That was fantastic. So I've got questions from both of those shows, but then in the second hour, Far From Normal, LaShawn K. Ford was on. He's a state representative, a House representative of Illinois. And he was talking specifically about HB 4113. And we're going to be talking about that. That's the tiebreaker question. The only thing we need are participants. And I know a lot of people... That's all right, Aaron. I know you're joking. That's okay. Adam Dingle, his birthday was the 18th. Had my second visit canceled for my 19th because I posted my reunification video. I'm sorry, man. That's some bullshit right there. Randy Phillips, Michigan here. Randy, if you want to call in to the show, there's the phone number, 408-638-0968. I, for some reason, like to say 86, and then the meeting ID, it will prompt you to type that in, 805-968-908 to play Judiciary! Woo! Saturday Night Live! Bud, I pinned your comment. We want Ted. We want Aaron. Would you play? If you're not busy. Pretty please. Nice. I just got a message that Sean hatched a legendary egg in Everwing. Congratulations, Sean. Have you guys played that game, Everwing? All right, Crystal. How you doing, Crystal? Are you there? 0347. Welcome to Judiciary! Welcome, Crystal. How are you this weekend?
Good.
Good. Thanks for calling in. How was your week?
Good.
That's good. Did you watch any of the shows this week? Kirk's Law Corner and Far From Normal?
No, I think when they were on, I was at work, and I was doing something, and I did not listen to them.
Okay, well, that's all right. Yeah, Mark Ludwig, please call in. That would be great. I actually called Mark yesterday or the day before. I wanted to talk to somebody in Missouri about their shared parenting bill. Because that bill, it needs to go through in Illinois. It absolutely does. There's wording in it. There's wording in the bill that creates a hurdle. It creates a hurdle for family court. But we have an idea of how the court will handle this, and Missouri is a good example of that, because like anything else, or how should I say this, we know that they are going to get those incentives if those incentives are there. So I want to share with you the what I'm pretty sure the courts will do given a little time. Initially, that bill will be wonderful. It'll be amazing. But they'll figure out a way to go around it and profit. Yo, Ira D. Ashburn, call into the show. ID blocked. Okay, let's make sure I have everything correct here. Well, Crystal got in. Yeah, 805-968-908. That's it, Aaron. It's not letting you in, huh? That sucks. What's wrong with this program? Maybe they're jamming me up. Melissa, if you want to call in and play, that would be great. I'm literally just waiting on you guys. So let me go to the settings in this chat thing. Web server depreciated. Yeah, I don't need that. Profile, appearance, filters, accounts. That's what I need, accounts. Why isn't Facebook coming up? Live stream doesn't. Okay. Connect. I don't want to mess up the stream though. Twitch. Reconnect. Okay, Facebook. Reconnect. Aha. Twitch. Reconnect. YouTube. Reconnect. Reconnect. Did it work? Am I getting the comments? Ah! Aaron Wemple. It came up. Alright, sweet. So now if I go to the chat room, that's pretty cool. I'll have to be over here though. So it goes, it's the opposite. The new ones come in at the top, it looks like. I wonder if I could play with that. Let me see here. Browser source. Put you there. There. Much better. Alright, ID is blocked. Well, you need to put in all the numbers. Don't put in the dashes. Don't use the dashes. You just put the numbers in. Maybe I should take that out completely. Yeah, it's just like a phone number, except with 9 numbers, not 10 numbers. And just like a phone number, you don't include the dashes. Alright, guys. I need somebody to play. Ah. Hello, 2170. Welcome to Judiciary Live Saturday night. Who are we speaking with, please?
Hi, Ted. This is Aaron Wimple.
Hey, Aaron. Thank you so much for calling in.
Hey, Ted. You're welcome.
Really
Sorry
appreciate
it took a little while.
That's all right. We'll get it figured out.
Yeah.
So let's. I'd love to get 2 people in right away, but Crystal is there. She can be the backup player. Thank you, Bud. Yeah, if we go to the chat now. Welcome all to Wheel of Judiciary. See, it says Bud Vino's name right there. And then over here, there's a comment from Periscope. If we get a comment from Twitter, this would be a great way for me to interact with the Twitter audience, because I just don't do it enough, and I want to be part of a Twitter storm that's coming up. If any of you want to be part of a Twitter storm, that would be awesome. Let me know. An Irish lady I know is starting this Twitter storm, and I'd like to be a part of it. If you would like to be a part of it too, comment below or message me, and I'll give you all the information. So while we're waiting for a second guest, a second participant, let's get right into it, okay?
Okay.
All right. Judiciary. All right, Aaron, here is your first question.
It is a declaration for the necessity for taking up arms. Okay? This was July 6th, 1775. This is what's important here to understand history and history of law. What was actually going on back then that we declared our independence from, and why we were declaring our independence, because we actually have 4 particular documents, and this is the first one.
Doesn't Kirk look great in that suit coat and everything? The American flag behind him. That was awesome. So, what is the So, I mean, you can hear everything. If you can see the stuff, great, but there's nothing really visual that you need. Let me move this over here. So what is the first of... Kirk said there are 4 documents that are all tied together. What is the first of the 4 documents Kirk is talking about? A, the Declaration of Arms. B, the Virginia Constitution. C, the Declaration of Independence. D, Java String Declaration.
I would say C, the Declaration of Independence.
Let's listen.
Was you asking me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Let's listen to the video answer.
Okay. It should have been that Virginia document.
Is that your final answer? C?
No, I actually think he said the Virginia Constitution, but I wasn't 100% sure.
We can listen to it one more time. You want to go back and listen to it again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, whoops.
It is a declaration for the necessity for taking up arms. Okay? This was July 6th, 1775. This is what's important here to understand history and history of law. What was actually going on back then that we declared our independence from, and why we were declaring our independence, because we actually have 4 particular documents, and this is the first one.
Oh, that's loud. Every time. So what is the first of the 4 documents Kirk is talking about? A, the Declaration of Arms. B, the Virginia Constitution. C, the Declaration of Independence. Or D, Java String Declaration. If you're writing Java code.
Okay. I think it was the Declaration of Arms. I'm going to change my answer again.
Congratulations, that is correct. Oh, where's the video answer? There we go.
July 6, 1775, there's a Declaration of Arms. And then we have the Virginia Declaration of Rights, June 12, 1776. And then we have the Virginia Constitution, which was signed on the same day as the Declaration of Independence. Those 4 documents are tied together. Okay? That's part of our lineage of law.
Well, there's a real delay between the video and the audio. I wonder why that is. It must be getting jammed up. So there's a picture of the Declaration of Arms right there. So the Declaration of Arms, Declaration of the Causes and Necessity of Taking Up Arms. That's the whole title. The Declaration describes the unconstitutional effort of the British to extend its jurisdiction into the colonies following the 7 Years' War. It describes how the colonists had repeatedly petitioned for the redress of their grievances, only to have their pleas ignored or rejected by the British government. Even though British troops have been sent to enforce these unconstitutional acts, the Declaration insists that the colonists do not yet seek independence from the mother country, but that they have taken up arms in defense of their freedom that the British continued to violate. It's interesting. So this was like the precursor. They weren't saying we want to be independent yet, but you guys got to stop. You know, similar to our situation with family law. All right.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, I know. It's very familiar. If you look at the Declaration of Independence, you just change the word colonist to family or parents or children, and it applies like 99% of the time. It applies directly to what we're going through.
Right.
It's interesting. All right, you ready for your second question?
Sure.
All right.
Yes.
Here we go. Player 1, question 2.
I do not feel that it is appropriate for children to go from house to house every other week.
In supporting equal time sharing, that you didn't support a week-on, week-off rotation. So how would you work that out as far as supporting equal access to both children while not supporting a equal week-on, week-off rotation with both parents?
So thank you, Jesse, for not letting that slip by. We want to make sure that stuff like that is completely cleared up. So why does it sound like Francesca does not support week-on, week-off parenting? A, because life does not always lend itself to that type of schedule. B, because she believes courts should not be dictating how we parent. C, because she doesn't want to pay child support. D, both A and B. Does that make sense?
Kind of, sort of. What was A?
Life does not always lend itself to that type of schedule. B, she believes courts should not be dictating how we parent. And D was both A and B.
Yeah, I would say both A and B.
I believe that is correct. Let's go to the video answer.
It's not literally ordered by the court Monday through Wednesday, this and that and all this other nonsense. It's worked out by the family. I despise the court system as it is. I feel like they should be completely abolished. I'm saying with healthy, fit parents, I really feel like parents can work it out themselves. They're not half people. They're 100%, 100%, 100%. We managed to get through our whole lives without the family court. Just because now we're parents, have to go to mommy judge or daddy judge and say, could you help us out? I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous.
I like Fran's energy, or Francesca's, sorry. So this is my explanation of, I believe, where she stands. We're all going through different phases of our understanding and our education in this. So the concern with an illegal family court system being involved in anything is a scary thought to most of us. And life does not lend itself to a perfect schedule, though the system is more than happy to allow you to litigate a 10-minute infraction if you have the money. 50-50 on paper, maybe closer to 60-40, even 70-30 in reality in some situations. If you go on vacation, you never know how it's going to work. And like I said before, if you go by the strictly what the court says to do, and it's still very heated, you're going to be in court for 10 minutes. I was. I'm sure a lot of you have been. So an equal number of overnights before the age of 2 is seemingly impossible in most situations, short of forcing undue strain, both mentally and physically, on the mother. I know a lot of us men have varying degrees, varying thoughts on this. At the same time, those 2 years are critical for dad to have as much access as possible to create that child-parent bond. That was certainly the case with me and my son. Without those first 2 years, our relationship wouldn't be as tight. So, you know, luckily for me, I guess, I wasn't divorced yet, and it was right at the peak of the recession in Florida. So I would stay up all night and take care of my son Cash, and he used to sleep this way on my chest, so he'd be like, his feet would be here and his head would be here. Cutest thing ever. If we were to end the family court system tomorrow and put in place help for newly single parents, help that would guide them as to what is expected of them instead of an institution designed to profit off their destruction, theoretically, there would be an insignificant fraction of civil cases based on stuff like this. We really could figure this stuff out on our own with just a little bit of help instead of what we're getting, which is the opposite of help.
Absolutely.
It's so crazy to me how the family law system evolved, and it's so obvious that it's based on profit. And we just got to let the American people understand that. It's just going to take some time. We're going to get there. All right, Aaron, are you ready for your third question?
Oh, man, Ted, I hope so. I think so.
All right, well, so far you're doing great. Two out of 3 or 2 out of 2 so far. Player 1, question 3.
The judge had the audacity to say to her that the prior interviews that I did of her have to be taken off the air, or she will be held contempt of court and could face jail.
This judge in West Virginia said, you can't talk about this case, but not only that, you have to tell Francesca out in New York to remove any video, any past video with you in it, or you're going to jail. So that was Thursday afternoon with Francesca and Kirk. So what can this was Judge Carter there in West Virginia, who's violating not only this individual in court, her and I don't necessarily want to say her name. Hopefully she's watching. I talked to her after the show, but the judge is violating her First Amendment right to free speech. Not only that, he's going way out of his jurisdiction to the state of New York to tell Francesca to remove any video of this person. That's violating the First Amendment right of free speech and freedom of press twice. So what can Judge Carter Williams in West Virginia be charged with, Aaron? A, racketeering, B, torture, C, perjury, or D, treason?
All the above?
Yeah, well, possibly. Yes, possibly.
Wow.
But the major one.
Yeah, I'm going to guess on this one, Ted. I guess treason. I'm not.
Let's go to the video answer.
I'm not.
What we're actually talking about is the freedom of speech and press. First of all, when we're talking about rights, we're talking about property. So if we actually understand property and what property really is, our rights are our property. It is a trespass upon our property. And that's how we need to start claiming our rights, is property rights. And that's why it's called unalienable or unalienable, which means you can't place a lien upon my rights. So in this case, in West Virginia, the judge is usurping the Constitution and his proper delegation of authority under what we, the people, say that you can do. And you're doing it as a man, not as government. We, the people, are government. We are a republic, by the public. We are self-governed. Without proper consent, you can't act that way, period. So when somebody says, well, I'm the judge and I'm going to do this, where's your proper delegation of authority to do that? You know, that act. So right now, as one of the people, I, lowercase I, as a creation of God, hereby abolish this gag order from West Virginia by law. You do not have the authority. And in fact, Title 18, Section 3571 is a violation of your oath of office. And that's a $250,000 penalty. If you want to continue acting out, that's a felony crime. That's capital felony treason under 2381.
Punishable by death.
Punishable by death.
You are correct, Aaron. Yes, if a judge does not fully comply with the Constitution, his orders are void. In R.E. Re Sawyer 124 U.S. 200 1888. Whenever a judge acts where she does not have jurisdiction to act, I mean, he doesn't have jurisdiction, first of all, to violate this woman's First Amendment rights, but to go out of his state and try and have jurisdiction in the state of New York? No. Whenever you go outside of your jurisdiction, the judge is engaged in an act or acts of treason. Under the Constitution, that is punishable by death. I looked at West Virginia Code punishment. So whoever is guilty of treason against the state shall be punished by confinement in the penitentiary for life, or at the discretion of the jury, or the discretion of the court when there is a plea of guilty, by confinement in the penitentiary for not less than 3 nor more than 10 years. So we know that technically we have to go, you know, you look at the West Virginia Code, but you have to go to the main law of the land, as Kirk always puts it, I believe, and ultimately go to the Constitution. So that might be, you know, maybe he'd get life and not the death penalty. But it says right there, if you commit treason, that's a death sentence. So think about that, Judge Carter Williams, and what you're doing here, what you're trying to do. Maybe you should not be a judge anymore. That would be my advice to you, sir. So congratulations, Aaron. You got all 3 correct.
Well, thank you, Ted.
And there is a tiebreaker question just in case. Crystal is on the phone as a backup player. This would be the 3rd week in a row she's played. If any of you out there would like to play, please call in. And Aaron, if you want to stay on the line, that's awesome. If you need to go, I understand. But there is a tiebreaker question that you may or may not need to answer depending on if we get another participant. But send me your address so I can send you the Marches shirt. And so let's go look at the chat room. Let's see, Miss Myra. Or Myra. Because I'm going... Okay. Myra, do you want to call in the show? You're in Texas. Let's see, what is she saying here? Can I scroll this? I've not played with this at all. No, I can't scroll down on the comments. So Myra says, yeah, my daughter and all the attorney wants to put me a strike just because I'm trying to protect my grandkids. I'm in Texas. I don't know if the judge will agree to put me in strike. I'm hoping not, because I'm going to trial November 13th. Well, Please call in, Myra. This has, nothing to do with your case in Texas, so you wouldn't have to worry about any backlash there. Let's see. Raphael, Fan Pack, New Jersey. Raphael, will you please call in and play Judiciary live Saturday night? Chris Carpenter, evening. We're still looking for a second participant if you'd like to call in and play. Aaron Wemple just got all 3 of his questions correct. All 3 correct. Let's see. Let's see what's up here from David Henry here from Brevard County, Melbourne, aka home of the Kennedy Space Center, Cocoa Beach, etc., etc. Please call in, David. There's the number there, 408-638-0968, meeting ID 805-968-908. Do not type in the dashes. Hey, Veronica. This is so weird. The chat on my computer, the comments are coming from the bottom, just like on Facebook, but the one from the URL brings it down from the top. So, Veronica, if you could please call in, that would be great. We need another contestant to play Judiciary live Saturday night. All right. 1336. Thanks for calling in to Judiciary. Who are we speaking with, please?
Thanks for calling in to.
Oh, I can hear me.
Who are we speaking with, please? Thanks for calling in to.
Hi, Ted.
Hello. Yes. Who are we speaking with, please?
Ted.
Hello.
Hi, Ted. It's Veronica.
Hi, Veronica. How are
Hi,
you?
it's Veronica. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much for calling in. Are you ready to play?
Yes, I'm ready to play.
Awesome.
I'm doing good. How are you?
Awesome, awesome. You might need to turn down your speaker just a hair.
Yes, I'm ready to play.
Awesome.
I'm doing good. How are you?
Awesome.
Yeah.
You might need to call again, or you ready to hair.
Okay.
Veronica, you just have to turn down your volume or put your earbuds in. Yeah. Yeah, David being from Florida, I mean, Florida has the best talk radio, I think, especially the Tampa Bay area.
Yeah, David being from Florida,
yeah.
Florida is probably has the best talk radio.
Veronica, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, can you turn down your phone?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you turn down your phone?
I don't have my earbuds, so.
All right. Can you
Yes, I can.
Okay, cool. And then we'll get right into the questions.
I'm going to turn down you.
Okay. Yeah, so you should be able to just hear me on the phone conversation, but not on the video. So we should be good to go now. And
all right, how we go? How's that?
I think that's good. So there's a little bit of a delay, so if you want to watch the video questions, take your time. It's no big deal. So let's get right into it. Player 2, question 1.
Parliament was influenced to adopt the Pernicious Project and assuming a new power over them. They didn't like us having our own freedom and our own liberty, and they changed their counselors.
So Kirk wanted to research that, as he put it, pernicious. I think it's pronounced pernicious. Pernicious Project. So what did the writer of the Declaration of Arms mean by Pernicious Project? A, America's secret project to take over Britain. B, plans leading up to the French-American War. C, using Admiralty law in a way to cripple Americans into submission. Or D, talks regarding the Boston Tea Party. And I can replay that for you if you'd like.
I say C.
Let's look at video answer number 1.
For depriving us of the accustomed and estimable privilege of trial by jury in cases affecting both life and property. But this is in 1775. This is what they're taking up arms against. Trial by jury in cases affecting both life and property.
All right. You are correct, Veronica. Good job. We still need you to turn down that volume in the background.
No.
All right, so pernicious, having a harmful effect, especially in a gradual or subtle way. Further in the Declaration of Arms, it reads, and I quote, I'm just going to mute you so I can read this, and I'll put you right back on. All right. Further in the Declaration of Arms, it reads, and I quote, by one statute, it is declared that Parliament can, and they quote, of right, make plans to bind us in all cases whatsoever, unquote. I am quoting their quote of a British statute that actually said, of right, make plans to bind us in all cases whatsoever. So like in today's courts, using contempt to incarcerate 1 in 100 of us for any whim, even if it's hurt filioma, even if their feelings are hurt, they put you in jail for contempt. So this is what the family court is doing, is just like that British statute there. While at the same time brushing off their own tyranny to protect themselves. Parliament did the same, but protected their own people. So they weren't doing this to their own people. They were doing this to people in another country, our country, America. Today's issues are much more serious because the atrocities are coming from within. So we can't just be like right now, if British tried to do what the family courts are doing to us, we declare war on them. But since this is happening to us, by us, it's a much harder to declare war on ourselves. And a civil war is not something any of us would like. I mean, it's one thing when there was 13 colonies, but now that there's 50 states and millions upon millions of people, I can't even imagine the thought of a civil war to end this. I believe we'll be able to end this without coming close to a civil war, but you never know. So congratulations, Veronica. Let me take you off of hold here, or off of mute. All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
All right, let's go right on to question number 2.
What are some of the things that we can do to get a hold of our legislators?
So, whether it is in support of a bill or simply asking or wanting to ask your legislators to talk about family law reform, like Jay asked, what can we do to get their ear? A, send a letter. Or what is the best way to get their ear, to get their attention? Send a letter, send an email. C, send a tweet. D, leave a voicemail. Or E, call during business hours.
I say call during business hours. A.
Let's look at the video answer. Is there a...
And you could approach it how you want. You just let them know that this is something that I believe in. Tell your legislators to read it because you want them to understand what's happening so that they could feel comfortable and that they could push back when people come to them and say, why are you supporting that bill?
So this is, that was LaShawn K. Ford, and researching the best way, and I've read this before, this is a writer by the name of Emily Ellsworth. She was a former congressional staffer. Reaching out via things like Facebook or Twitter aren't going to be very effective. Staffers check these mediums occasionally, but they're largely ignored. Sending letters is more helpful, but they also get so many letters that it's impossible to give them individual attention. The best way to get in touch? Phone calls. As Emily explains in her detailed tweet chain, phone calls have to be dealt with when they occur, and they can't be ignored. A large volume of phone calls can be overwhelming for office staffers, but that means their bosses hear about it. In the months to come, we will be helping with calling campaigns to legislative hopefuls of every state. Simple calls that take seconds, but will force the country into talks about reform. So, congratulations, Veronica. You are correct. All right. If you get this next one correct, then we go on to the tiebreaker question. So, are you ready for your third question, Veronica?
Yes, I am.
Here we go.
He has sent some things out of the prison that was lost along the way, I should say. There was also a video that was turned over to police of the shooting that they no longer have and the defense never got to see.
I can replay that if you'd like, because it was a little scrambled right at the beginning. But Brent, that was Brenda.
Yeah, please.
Okay, let's go right back to it and play it.
He has sent some things out of the prison that was lost along the way, I should say. There was also a video that was turned over to police of the shooting that they no longer have and the defense never got to see.
So that was Brenda Kilmeyer calling into Kirk's Law Corner show, Law for Dummies. Her son pleaded not guilty to a murder charge, saying it was in self-defense. He was found guilty. Video evidence of the event was never seen in court. And what Brenda was saying is, after the fact, they found this video. They don't know if it was withheld, or I don't know. I'm not sure. But anyways, there's video of the event and other evidence that the defense was never able to let the jury see. So what is that type of evidence called? What is that evidence
It's discovery.
called?
It's discovery.
You are correct, except I'm wording it differently here. So A, inculpatory evidence. B, exculpatory evidence. C, circumstantial evidence. D, analogical evidence. And I didn't add discovery evidence because that a video, and I'll get into that afterwards, but because it wasn't seen by the jury at the time, what is it? A, inculpatory.
Okay, well, we're...
Go ahead. Oh, what were the...
Go ahead, what did you say? Yeah, because it's not showing up.
Okay, A, inculpatory evidence. B, exculpatory evidence. C, circumstantial. D, analogical.
I guess exculpatory?
That is correct. It is. And let's go check out the video answer.
So, denial of exculpatory evidence. The initial right to a cause of action was because of the denial of exculpatory evidence. James Madison had a right to a cause of action because Marbury was hiding documentation from the president just before he left office.
Yeah, so I say this right in the beginning. Video is a type of demonstrative evidence. It directly demonstrates a fact. If her son is truly innocent, then this video would have likely exonerated him. Exculpatory evidence is evidence favorable to the defendant. Inculpatory evidence tends to prove guilt. Whether that evidence was denied in the original trial or if it was found after the fact, an appeal would most definitely be granted. And her son has been in prison now for 8 years for this. So that demonstrative or evidence or discovery evidence, as you put it, is exculpatory evidence because it was not seen in the original trial, and he should have an appeal. He should have had an appeal immediately after that video was found.
And he's going to have a major lawsuit.
Yeah.
For sitting in jail for 8 years.
8 years and not having an appeal, whether he's guilty or not, I certainly can't say. But if there's video that the jury didn't see of the event,
that proves his innocence, yeah.
Right. I mean, either way, we don't know. So there needs to be an appeal. The jury has to see this evidence.
There was just a case in Pennsylvania. A man just won $4 million because he was sitting in prison for innocent.
I wonder for how there's been people in jail for murder for decades, or for almost 30 years.
When there was no DNA. When there was no DNA, but then DNA proved their innocence.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? Thank God for DNA.
Yeah, it is.
Unless you're in a state with death penalty, he'd be long gone. So that I remember debating this in middle school and starting to hear some of these stories. I'm like, well, obviously we can't have the death penalty for murderers. I mean, because what if they actually didn't do it, and the jury didn't see this evidence, or so.
But then suppose you know that person did do it, okay, and you're the family of that person that was killed, and there's undeniable proof that person killed your family member. They deserve to die. So
it's
you got those two ways of looking at it.
Yeah, it's something to chew on. Aaron, Aaron, are you still with us? So Aaron, if you could call back in, that would be great, so we can do the tiebreaker question. I think he just left. Oops, what did I just press? So how the tiebreaker question works is you both are playing at the same time. So I tell you the question once. If neither of you answer it, then I'll replay it. And then within whoever answers it first wins. So Aaron, if you could call back in, Mr. Wemple, if you could please call back in to play the tiebreaker question. And it'd be awesome to get participants in right off the bat, and that's why I asked a few people if they could call in earlier in the week, because then we could go question by question. I can ask player 1 the question, then player 2, player 1, 2, 1, 2, and then tiebreaker. Miranda Mitchell, does this apply to family law as well, divorce cases? I'm not sure what you mean. This. All right, Aaron.
Actually, judges have no right to grant divorces.
Right. No, they don't have jurisdiction. They don't have jurisdiction to judge on fundamental rights at all. Aaron, welcome back.
Hi, Ted. Thanks.
Thank you for calling back. All right. So how the tiebreaker question works is I ask the question, whoever answers it first wins. So you can just like scream out your name and I'll know you're first. And I believe
Hi, Aaron.
So whoever wins gets the March's shirt. Whoever comes in second place, I believe Josh Tuttle will be supplying a TFRM pen for you for your participation. Thank you, Josh Tuttle. He's an amazing guy, and he's been an amazing supporter of the show. So let's get right into it on Judiciary Live Saturday nights. Tiebreaker question. 3, 2, 1.
LaShawn, we've got this issue. We go into a family court system expecting due process. We're hoping for justice to take place. And unfortunately, it's just not there.
Something is wrong with our system, a flaw in our democracy. And I've been educated on the process. Let's take Michelle Obama and Barack Obama. The law would automatically say, oh, no, Barack Obama, nope. Michelle is the dominant one. That doesn't make sense.
So, and I have the wrong question up there. So what this question is asking, and I forgot to type out, is what is this House bill called in Illinois? Go.
50-50 shared parenting, House Bill 4113.
Aaron, congratulations! You got it right off the bat. You do have a bit of an advantage because you are in Illinois. I didn't think about that.
Sorry.
I was going to say, I know Jay was just talking about this too.
Yep.
Yeah, he gave it pretty good coverage.
He did, and
yeah,
it's really great. The people that Jay and Bud are getting on their show is really incredible. They just had LaShawn K. Ford, an actual House representative of Illinois, on their show. I thought that was huge. And coming up this week,
that was amazing.
You won't believe who they have on their show this week. The actress Natasha Pavlovich. She's been on TV shows. She's been in movies for decades now. She was on Seinfeld, I believe. She was on Quantum Leap. She's been on TV all over the country because she speaks like 7 different languages. She's an amazing actress, and I can't believe that they're getting these people. I think it's amazing. I don't know.
It is. It's awesome.
Yeah. So, and so their show is Family Law, and I believe she has some knowledge of this too, and somehow it ties in just a little bit. But beyond Family Law, they do go into entertainment, and I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about their Halloween show, but they have actors from the original Friday the 13th movies, like the original Jason.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. They're doing a great job, and I'm so proud to be a part of it. But let's go to the tiebreaker answer, even though we already know who won.
House of Representatives here, LaShawn K. Ford, who is introducing a bill called HB 4113, the Shared Parenting Bill for Illinois.
So here is a summary of the bill, and I wanted to get into my theory of what the courts will eventually do with this bill, because this bill needs to pass. It absolutely needs to pass, because initially it's going to do amazing things, and we'll see it'll be a great example. The problem is we have another example in Missouri, and let's see if I can pull up the document. I kind of need this document. I don't know what it did with it, so I'll have to kind of free for all it. So this is you read down. It amends the Illinois Marriage and Dissolution of Marriage Act to the list of purposes of the act. Adds recognizing that the involvement of each parent for equal time is presumptively in the children's best. It's great. This is written in a very good way. And then you read down, unless it finds clear and convincing evidence instead of preponderance of evidence that the parent's exercise of parenting time would seriously endanger the child's physical, mental, or moral or emotional health. So if you understand evidence, clear and convincing is right below beyond a reasonable doubt. And I understand why they did that, simply to get this passed. Preponderance is the lowest standard. Clear and convincing is the middle. Beyond a reasonable doubt is the highest, in my understanding. So the issue is the incentives to create non-custodial parents are still there. The pressure put on judges to create revenue from those incentives is still there. Therefore, what will inevitably happen is more digging into each parent's background. If one parent says, "Oh, you're unfit, we need to look at your background," the other parent's going to say the same thing. Pretty soon, they're going to have a department just to dig into your background if they don't already. This is currently happening in CPS cases to create foster children. So what would keep the courts, like I said, from digging into the background of both parents? Boom! 100% pure profit foster child. As horrible as that is, it would show continued usurpations by the family courts, more ammunition for us to end this institution altogether.
And the reason that they're awarding the children to the parent who has a problem in some way, shape, or form is because they know that down the line, they can go pick up those children later and then put them into the foster care system and adopt them out.
So they were just talking about this in like a half an hour before with Francesca. The shift that will need to happen eventually is to focus not on a product of the situation, but on the root cause of it. So if you go back to action for divorce, it equals a criminal action. It's a criminal case. Having to wait until an action happens in order to get a divorce was found to be unconstitutional. Therefore, in 1970, no-fault divorce was enacted by Ronald Reagan in California. Neither individual getting a no-fault divorce committed an action. So why are they in court? The process of no-fault divorce is therefore unconstitutional. So we'll go down to a solution. I think there's a video with this.
Taking away the power from the courts that shouldn't have any power to begin with and giving it back to the parents. Yeah, our 4th and 14th Amendment rights guarantee us the right to be parents, to be equal parents.
And like you said, Veronica, they simply have no jurisdiction over this at all, and that's why it needs to end. So the solution to me, and a very similar, almost exact solution to Rosemary Dalton, who isn't a victim of family courts, but is a victim of CPS, a resident of Missouri, and saw this pattern, what I'm explaining, happen there with their shared parenting bill. They started turning a lot of these children into foster kids. So a marriage contract, an actual civil contract, just like the millions created every day by contractors, specifying what happens in the event of the breaking of said contract. How will future assets be divided? How will future real estate be divided? How will future automobiles be divided? How will future children be divided?
And that's illegal too.
Right. I mean, well, if you have a contract, this would be a private contract, privately, just like a contractor that doesn't involve the courts unless there's a breach of contract, and you go to civil court if there's a breach. How will future children be divided privately, 50-50 being the preset, the standard? And just like the contracts I used to make as a contractor, it's a private contract. But if that contract gets violated, you're going to court. And I've had to put liens on people's property because they violated the contract at the end. And I've never once had to go to court. It's all been settled out of court. So that's a good representation of how things will be handled if there is. And I imagine if we were to solve this again, like I said, tomorrow, and put in place help instead of destruction like we have now, that because of people's perceptions, it'll take a few years for those perceptions to change to there's no reason to go to court because we already have it figured out. If you go to court and you waste your money, Nothing's going to, what will happen or what was written in the contract will be held. Right now, prenups, judges just throw them out because there's no money in a prenup for them. So they'll just, like they do with everything else, break constitutional law every 8 seconds. That's what family court judges do. They break the law. Literally every 8 seconds. I don't understand how this institution could have ever evolved in this way. But let's go on. I have another.
But you know what? I'm going to tell you how it was. Because the judges were once lawyers. So them and the other lawyers, they're part of the Bar Association that was founded in Chicago. So they had to come up with a moneymaker.
Yep.
And that's how this became a $50 billion a year.
And if you take in
New Jersey, New Jersey is a third party in marriage because you've got to get a marriage license.
Wow.
And that's illegal.
Right. A lot of the legislators who make these laws are also former attorneys. There definitely needs to be a stopgap there. Attorneys are no longer really the public anymore. They're guardians of law for the people, or that's one term that I've used. So, I mean, this has nothing to do with parents and what they want, or the court's incentive to perpetuate their control. This is about the actual child's best interests and that young individual's fundamental rights. There simply is no jurisdiction over that, no matter how much money lawyers in the family court system stands to lose. Unless a parent is found to be unfit in a criminal, not family or juvenile court, and in front of a jury of one's peers, should you even begin to assume jurisdiction over that fundamental right. At that point...
Exactly, because the Constitution says a jury of at least 6 or more people.
Right, that would be a petite jury at 6, and that is somebody's idea. I think it's a great idea, a man in Arizona. At that point, it is the same as action for divorce, and the only way that action for divorce is constitutional if there's really a criminal charge and it's seen in criminal court. A lot of these criminal charges are staying in family court where they don't have jurisdiction in anything. How could they try a criminal proceeding in family court? That's a violation, going past their jurisdiction again. Treason, punishable by death.
Right, but it also entitles racketeering because they're going after money.
Exactly.
To Social Security.
Oh, I have the double. Interesting. So that's my whole take on it. This bill was written with understanding of the law, with lots of knowledge of what's happening, with heart. It's very well put together, and I encourage everybody to get behind it and support it and get it into law, because for maybe a year, maybe 6 months, it's going to do amazing things in that state. However, my theory is they're going to go around that hurdle and use the words
taking away
and the reason that they're
using these words, unless the court finds by the medium standard of clear and convincing evidence that the physical, mental, moral, or emotional abuse. And there's an example, a man, Ed, in Maine, who was in a CPS case. He just lost his 3 kids because of stuff he did before they were born. Not felonies. It's crazy. So this is what, and he lost.
Which is illegal.
Yeah. I mean, his case, I looked at his case, I looked at his paperwork. It was shut. They had no right to take his kids. They brought in a judge from south in the state, a prosecutor. The governor appointed this judge just for his case. Then that judge went back to Augusta or Portland or wherever. This judge did what CPS wanted, not what was just. And they used what's written right there, to take his children, all 3 children, and profit off them. That's what this isn't. This, but I want to stress that if this happens, if my theory with this bill happens, it's going to show continued usurpations by the family court and ultimately will help us. So, and like I said, for 6 months to a year, this is going to do amazing things before they figure out how to go around the hurdle. So please, for the love of God, support this bill. It needs to happen. It needs to happen. And everybody who's supporting it, thank you.
A lot of people are supporting it.
This is
and
just,
in Illinois, they were removing children for gift cards, CPS.
For gift cards. Yeah. See, this is, I sit here and this is all I think about. You have to understand. I'm not working because of my hands. I'm not on disability either. I get nothing. If it wasn't for my parents, I'd be living on the street. This is all I do. Gotta understand. This is all I do. And it's all I think about. It's everything. So I understand the CPS side, not being a victim of CPS. I'm getting all these stories. I get a couple of stories a week, sometimes with pictures and video that are just the most traumatizing things you've ever seen in your life. And these people like Ed call me, like pleading for help, and I do the most I can for them. So I see what's happening on that side, and the thing is, these mother effers are going to get that revenue. They're going to get those incentives. We have to get rid of the incentives somehow. But then they find a child that's in need, they find them dead. Yeah.
And that's when an investigation was finally done.
There's just a kid the other day, there's a video, it said it was a hit and run. They found this kid in, just looked like he was run over by a car in the middle of a road, and nobody's claiming the body. Nobody. Well, guess what? It's a foster kid, and he's his parents are probably in another state, 1,000 miles away. Has no idea where he is.
No, because they force adopt them out across state lines.
Yep.
So the original state they changed the name, changed the security number.
Yep.
So the original state can collect off that original Social Security number until the child now turns 22, because that's what Congress passed.
Yeah. So I know the heart that went into this bill, I think, is there. I think it's genuine. And in
today, Francesca interviewed a veteran in Washington, D.C., and he has not seen his children in 4 years.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, I was hoping to help her broadcast that, but she must have got really busy. Got frazzled down there. I know when you're doing an event, you can get really caught up in what's going on. So, I'm hoping if she's doing anything tomorrow, I can help her rebroadcast, restream her stuff all over Twitter and YouTube and Twitch and everywhere else, because I think she's doing incredible things. Her energy is she's
doing amazing things.
Yeah, her energy is great. I think everything she's doing is great. So, well, thank you guys very much for your time. Thank you for playing Judiciary Live Saturday night.
Thanks for having us, Ted. It was a blast.
And Aaron,
yes, thank you. It's great.
You're welcome. And please PM me if you don't want to. I understand people are weird like that, but if you both send me your addresses, I'll make sure that you get the pen from Josh, Veronica, and I'll send you up a shirt.
Okay.
Aaron, so don't forget to do that. I'm going to be sending those out Monday. I've been super busy, so I haven't even sent the one out from last week, and I have to get on that. I'm like procrastination Jackson over here. this, like I said, this is all I do. So Monday comes, and I'm like all over Kirk's Law Corner, making sure everything's ready, and then I'm working with Bud and Jay and Jesse and those guys to make sure they're all set up for Tuesday, because they need 2 guests a week every week, so it's a fury of activity come Monday morning usually with them. So I focus on their needs quite a bit, because like I said, I think what they're doing is awesome, and I want to make sure my end, what I do for them is 100% and not half-assed. So I spend a lot of time with them. So
what you're all doing is awesome.
Thank you, Veronica. Yeah,
it's very good.
You're welcome.
And your hair looks good too, Ted.
Oh, thank you. I have it combed over my earphones and everything. At least in this one patch, I do. You can't see it because it's a black screen, but
it is a declaration for the necessity.
Wrong thing. I wanted to go back to the chat room. We have a chat room now, and I'll probably set something like this up for the other shows too, even though I'm the only one who could see it. They'd see the delayed version. But is there anything you guys would like to say or talk about since you're on the air right now before we get going?
No, just God bless all our children, and keep on doing what everyone's doing.
Amen.
We got to keep fighting and going after the courts.
We will do that.
For what they're doing wrong to us.
Thank you, Veronica.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Aaron,
I would just like to encourage everybody to keep up the good fight. We're doing great things, and I really think we're on a downhill slide to this thing. So thank everybody for all their hard work they put in, and thank you, Ted, for having us.
Thank you so much for calling in, Aaron. I really appreciate it. And you too, Veronica. I appreciate the time. And you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Everybody out there listening, have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you Monday on Kirk's Law Corner. Tuesday with the Far From Normal radio show. Wednesday is going to be interesting. I'm going to broadcast Brian Kinter's show, The Jam. So a lot of us are members of his group, the Jam Movement, Judicial Accountability Movement. That's JAM, the Jam. And so he's going to be live in that group and everywhere else Wednesday, and then possibly Thursday with Francesca again. So stay tuned. Please come and enjoy the shows with us this week. It's going to be a great week. They, like I said, Far From Normal has Natasha Pavlovich, the actress. It's incredible. So I'll see you guys Monday at 8 p.m. on Kirk's Law Corner. I love you all.
Okay, love you too, Ted. Bye.
Thank you again, Veronica. Thank you, Aaron. It's been a great Saturday night. Thank you all for watching. Have a wonderful weekend.